Especially if they know somebody's going to be there.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's City Council workshop portion of our meeting. Workshop is a time for council to discuss any agenda items before the meeting begins, and we will also have some executive session items. Before we begin with executive session, I will ask council if there are any agenda items that you want to discuss. Okay, we have been asked to amend today's agenda. The first item under public requests and presentations, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial update, will be done during the meeting, not the workshop. So when we make a motion to approve the agenda, if we could amend it to include that, please. And we have several executive session items. We're going to try to get them all done during workshop. If not, we will come back at the end of today's meeting and finish. First is to discuss a proposed contractual agreement with Pickleport regarding extension of due diligence period. I will recuse myself from that discussion because my husband represents Pickleport. The second is a discussion with Golf Tourism Solutions regarding development of city-owned property adjacent to Whispering Pines Golf Course. We will invite Ryan Cannon to join council for that discussion. And then our last executive session is to receive legal advice relating to implementation of a curfew. We will invite Chief Prock and Assistant Chief Chris Smith. We will also invite Will Bryan, Brian Tucker, Josh Bruger, Marla Bell, Meredith Denary, and Amy New Schaefer. Is there a motion to go into these executive sessions?
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Dr. Connor, second from Ms. Hatley. Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Motion carries. And we will go right into good morning, everyone, and welcome to our city council meeting. We're very happy to have you all here with us. We would ask if you would please silence your cell phones at this time. And if you wish, please rise and join council as Mr. Councilman Chestnut leads us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
If you wish, you may join us in standing for a moment of silent invocation. I would ask before we get started if we would just have a moment of silence also for the victims of the flooding and devastation that's going on in Texas and North Carolina. And let's remember those families just for a moment. Amen. Let us pray. Lord, we come with heavy hearts and just pray, Father, that you bless these families and for them and stand with them during these trying times. And Father, we pray that the first responders who are just give them the wherewithal to perform their jobs and bring some relief to the families. And pray, Father, that you just build them up on every leaning side, and we know that you're going to be there for them. And pray, Father, that you also just give us who are leading or in leadership roles to, no matter how sometimes decisions we make sometimes we overlook the little things that can save so many lives and change so many lives. Give us the wisdom that we make the right decisions that are for the betterment of our people. And Father, we just pray that you bless us and bless our government leaders from the federal to the state, to the county, to the cities, that we just make the right decision. All these blessings we ask in thy name. Amen.
Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we do the approval of today's agenda, we have one change, and that is in the public requests and presentations. We are actually doing the Vietnam Veterans Memorial update during the meeting, where it actually says workshop. So I will ask for approval of the amended agenda.
So moved.
Motion from Mr. Louder, second from Dr. Connor. Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve our meeting minutes from June 24th, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Dr. Connor, second from Mr. Smith. Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Approval of meeting minutes from July 1st, 2025. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Smith, second from Ms. Hatley. Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. And we have Chris Miller our very own Chris Miller, and Jessica Wise is here to give us an update on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial.
Mayor, good morning. Morning,
Morning.
Council. If you give me a minute, I'd like to introduce Jalen Pringle to you. He's an intern that is working with the Public Works Department here in the city. He's currently going to North Carolina A&T in Greensboro, and he's with us until the 15th of August. He definitely has seen the good, bad, and ugly of how we do things, and he's been a real asset having him here this morning.
Jalen, welcome.
Thank you, nice to meet you.
Thank you for interning with the city of Myrtle Beach.
So I wanted to give you the final.
Just throw him under the
I want to
bus.
give you the final update on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. As you know, we've teamed up with Greenberg Farrow, architect firm here in town. We've done some public meetings over November and December. We met with veterans groups. We met with the general public. Took all their notes and comments and wants into consideration, and I think you'll be pleased with the final design. I think we gave you an early update back in January. A lot of this you'll see hasn't changed from that meeting in January, but just wanted to go ahead and just show you the final design. I'll ask Jessica to run through the details and just let me know if you have any questions.
All right, good morning. Before I dive in, I wanted to acknowledge that there are several veterans in the audience here. We've been working very closely with them. They've been very supportive. We've had open lines of communication throughout the process, and I do appreciate that they are here today. So just to recap, like Chris said, I think we were here last in January, and so in November and December of last year, we had a lot of public input opportunities. We had several meetings. We had an email address that was opened, comment cards that were in different areas around the city, and we did receive a lot of feedback from veterans and from the community. We also received a mailed packet from a gentleman in Florence who had heard about the project, and so he had served as some of the land clearing division. He sent a lot of pictures and a lot of good information, so there was a lot of active engagement in the project. This might be a familiar slide as well. So some of the public input opportunities, the feedback, helicopter, medics, POW MIA flag, timeline, storytelling, battalion patches, welcome home, a map, private donation opportunities. Those are all things that we discussed back in January as well. So all of that came to the final design, which we will present here today. Just to orient you on the site, the line on the right-hand side of the screen is a tree that's in the middle of Kings Highway. And then the line goes to where our proposed location of the memorial is in Warbird Park. That line is significant because one of the words that we were really trying to bring forth with this memorial is visibility. Visibility for the veterans, visibility for the memorial, for their contributions. And so that line represents, if you're standing at that tree or driving or walking down Kings Highway, you can see the flat line of the wall that is a part of the memorial. There's also a front of the memorial, which is a plaza space, and I'll get into some pretty images here, but just to explain why we located the memorial there, visibility from all kinds of different angles, Farrow Parkway in the park. It activated that end of the park as well, and minimal tree loss. So I think there's 3 pine trees maybe that were taken down to maintain that area for the memorial. Hopefully you guys can see this, but this is our proposed plan. So I wanted to walk you through the memorial and just the significance of the different parts and pieces. So the main entry, the primary sidewalk that comes from the northwest of the plan is a 6-foot primary sidewalk. It's straightforward. It connects to the asphalt path that's existing out in Warbird Park. In a way, it represents that straightforward expectation, anticipation, similar to some of the service members as they entered into the war. So that leads you into a plaza space. that is flanked on either side with a column that could have the thank you and remembrance plaques on either side, and a threshold on the ground that says welcome home. That signifies that this is a space for the veterans. As you enter the memorial area, the plaza itself has a reflecting pool, no water, representative of water. And this is an opportunity for reflection and remembrance, and kind of, if you have a group of school children, they can come and sit on the seat wall that also kind of encompasses the back side of the memorial. If you're a veteran, you can sit, or anyone, but if you are a veteran, you can sit on one of the 6 block seating that we have in the middle of the plaza. The 6 seats are representative of the 6 branches: Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Merchant Marines, and Coast Guard. And in a way, if a veteran comes and sits on their branch, their seat, they become part of the memorial to someone who's perhaps sitting on the seat wall behind. So the main focus of the plaza area is the wall itself. We've proposed a curved wall, and it has some pictures, some emblems on it. And then we chose the quote, "In honoring those who answered the call of duty, we do not honor war. We honor the peace they sought, the freedoms they fought to preserve, and the hope that they held out to a world that's still struggling to learn how to settle differences among people and among nations without resorting to violence." So that's a quote from Jimmy Carter. We thought that was very powerful, signifying, if you recall, we originally had this project called the Vietnam War Memorial, and we changed it to Vietnam Veterans Memorial. And I think this quote kind of solidifies that it's about the veterans and not about the war. So that's on the front of the wall. I'm going to flip through some images just to kind of get a visual as I speak, but I might flip back and forth a little bit to go, because some people can visualize it on a plan, and I know some people are more 3D. So this would be an image of if you were entering the plaza space, having the columns flanked on either side into the plaza, viewing the wall with the quote on the right-hand side. You can see the seat blocks as well in the plaza. The wall itself, on either end, there's some flat area. So that lens on the left-hand side, we proposed a map. So Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. That's part of the educational piece of the memorial. And on the right-hand side, which I think there's a view of that later, we were proposing to put a timeline. The right-hand side, as you can see, kind of on the bottom of the memorial space, is right up against the plaza. So that lends itself for a very easy timeline that people can come up and see the events. So that's the front side of the plaza, which is a reflecting and remembrance kind of area. So again, visibility and multifaceted. We really wanted to have the memorial be something that you can see from the front, from the side, from the back. So on the back side of the memorial, there's a sidewalk that curves around to the rear of the wall. And we've been working with Jim Smith. He's laser imaging and design. He's the gentleman that did the black granite for the World War II memorial. So our proposal here is to do black granite, to have imagery on the backside that could be lit up at night and could be seen from 17. And that would tell the story, its movement, whereas in the front, the plaza is more reflective and still. A quote that really struck the veterans, some of the feedback that we got, "My fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country."
Don Kennedy.
So if we could have that along the back of the wall with some powerful imagery, I think that would be the idea there. As far as a flag, so we chose to have one flagpole, American flag and the POW MIA, so as not to detract from the wall, but also, that definitely needed to be included in the memorial. I'm going to flip back to the first page really quick. So this is a bird's eye view of the memorial, kind of in a graphic image, whereas I was kind of speaking from the black and white image. So whereas the entry sidewalk, straightforward, concrete, like very expectation, what we're calling the exit sidewalk, now you can use either one, would be more of a crushed fines and gravel with edging. It would be curvilinear, kind of weaving through the landscape. to kind of represent as you're leaving the space, perhaps you have learned something and you're not so sure maybe how you felt or what your initial understanding of the situation was. We have opportunity for QR codes there as well that can be changed out. So a lot of the stories, a lot of the things that, nuances that weren't recognized about the war and the veterans and their services can be learned there. One more thing to note is on the seat wall that's in the plaza area, you'll see the tiny little bronze medallions. So a lot of what we heard from the veterans was the different divisions that were actually maybe didn't get any recognition. Like, I had never heard of the tunnel rats before. The wild weasels, the different squadrons for the Air Force Base, the land clearing division. So they each had individual emblems. So we're proposing to put little bronze medallions on the underside of that seat wall. So again, anywhere in the memorial that you can, oh, you're gonna make me cry. Anywhere in the memorial that you look, you can get education, remembrance, reflection. So if we do it right, the back side of the wall will be lit up at night. And again, a powerful image there that people can see from the road. If you sit on the right side of the plane and know it's there, you can see it, hopefully. We've also been working with a artist. His name is Tom Gallo. He did a bronze sculpture of Frank Beamer at Virginia Tech, and he's done several other military and kind of period-specific sculptures. So two of the items we thought were important was the image and the reflecting pool. A lot of the feedback we got was from, medevacs and people looking out for each other. So the proposal is to have in the top left corner, the guy that's kind of squatting down, so he would be in the reflecting pool, kind of guarding his fellow servicemen. In the right-hand picture would be a sculpture that would be in the plaza, headed towards the guy who is going to be medevaced out or, whatnot. So the three images in the black and white image in the bottom left as well, with the helicopter and the soldier in the hut. So those are all Tom Gallo's images. So he's been working really closely with us as well. Happy to answer any questions about the design itself, but as you can see, we've put a lot of thought and a lot of, tried to incorporate a lot of elements. Where the little medallions are under the seat wall, we don't have those filled yet. So if a veteran came to us and was like, hey, what about this, what about this division or whatnot, we have opportunity to add things in the future so it can change. So our next steps, finalize the construction drawings. Happy to have any feedback from you guys. Present to the Community Appearance Board, so we have not done that. And then just proceed with permitting and get this project going. Anything you want to add?
Time frame, we're estimating 4 to 6 months for construction. If this meets your approval, I don't want to tie us down to a date, but I certainly would try to go for Memorial Day of 2026. That would be my estimated time frame.
And we have done some research too on different dates. So March 29th is the Vietnam Vets Day. Memorial Day, as Chris said, is in May. Veterans Day, or according to the Horry County Museum, the last bomb dropped was August 15th, 1973. So that's another possible date.
So you can have this done by August.
Any questions we can answer? Any
It's
comments?
beautiful. It is really beautiful.
Thank you
On
so
a
much for.
possible start date, I know you're working at permitting and stuff like that, any possible start date?
Permitting and the CAB should be 30 days. I can't see why we shouldn't be ready in about 2 months,
Sounds good.
would be my estimate.
A great addition to Warburg Park.
No
Well,
question.
I appreciate
Very
the
nice.
support on it as well.
I'm hoping our Vietnam veterans really like the design here and everything that's been put into this. I see some of them out here today.
And I can tell by the reaction of my friend here that it hits the spot. Very good.
Thank you both.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, now we'll have our communications and creative services update.
Hey City Council, Erin Bowling here with your communications update. Thank you to everyone who worked the busy 4th of July weekend. There were lots of things to do with the great weather. The beach, Salute from the Shore, the Independence Day 5K, and of course, fireworks. The renovations at Whispering Pines are underway and on time. The golf course is on schedule to reopen September 1st.
Do you think you have what it takes?
The fire department has been hiring for Recruit Class 39. Applications closed yesterday, but more than 300 have been received for the 16 positions. New increased salaries went into effect July 1st. The Recreation Division is putting the fun in Summer Fun this summer. Camp Friendship held its annual Water Day, and Beach Camp was a hit last week, as always. After a fire last year at the Oceanwood Cemetery office, the new office is now up and running. Work continues on the 7.5-acre lot that will open up 4,000 more burial plots and also feature a pet garden for animal burials. Wooden curbs will be replaced with concrete ones, and more gravel is coming to the driveways. Stay tuned. Looking ahead, the Friday after the 4th beach cleanup takes place Friday, July 11th from 8 to 10 in the morning at the 2nd Avenue Pier. Fall baseball and softball registrations open July 12th. And Neighborhood Services hosts Beachside Chats, I Am My Sister's Keeper, July 13th from 4 to 6 at the historic Myrtle Beach Colored School Museum and Education Center. That's all for now. Have a great rest of your week.
All right, thank you. Do we have any non-agenda items from the public?
Yes, Your Honor. Richard Coate.
Good morning. And if you would please state your name for the record and your address, please.
My name is Richard Cody. My address is 4600 Pine Lake Drive in Myrtle Beach. I'm trying to figure out how and what the process is. I know I've emailed the city attorney, he's emailed me back, but I haven't heard anything on how to get a referendum through the process to be on the ballot in November. What is that process?
Madam Clerk, do you know that answer?
Well, it can either go through petition or it can be put on the ballot by a resolution passed by the governing body. So we would need to know what your referendum would be so they can make a decision.
So who do I write?
You can send it to me,
Okay, and your name is?
Jennifer Adkins.
All right, Jennifer, thank you. That's all I had.
Okay, and we're happy to give you her email address to make that easier for you, or her phone number.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Dan Martin.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Well, thank you.
I'm Dan Martin, 612 61st Avenue North, Myrtle Beach. Just got some concerns like you all do, like we all do, about the safety, everything that's going on around Myrtle Beach and y'all's efforts, and hopefully our efforts as residents. What can we do? Because we can see for a long way and communicate without being, a lot of people are concerned with their safety, even being around these places during certain times, which I know y'all are doing with the curfew and trying to do everything y'all can do to help. And I just want to know what we can do. I know have you had any communications with other residents? Anybody wants to get involved, just to be there, to volunteer, to start something productive?
First of all, thank you for caring and for wanting to be involved. And we will be discussing some things today that we can do. And I would like to ask either Assistant City Manager Bruger or Chief Prock if they would like to comment to you. One thing we always ask our community to do is if you see something, say something. Our police force can't be the eyes and ears of the entire city. So we do ask our residents and our businesses to be involved, and if you see something that seems unusual to you, to report that. Chief, do you want to add anything to this?
And that's all I ask for is to get something started. I know a lot of people are interested in doing it, and a lot of people do have time to do it. And just to show up, just to be eyes and ears and report. It seems like a real simple thing to do if a lot of people will get involved in it. And it might not even take a lot of people to do it.
Yes, sir. And I just want to reiterate something that I don't think we talk about enough. Because of the recent events that have taken place, it does give the feeling that we're not a safe place, and we are. Our violent crime is still, even with these events, down nearly 50%, and we need our residents to help get that message out. What has happened is happening because of a group of juveniles. We have problems like everywhere else in the nation with increased juvenile violence, and we are trying to do all we can to address those issues.
Well, thank you so much, every one of you. And
Thank
also for the memorial you just approved. That touches the heart.
Yes, sir.
Dan, just a minute. Mr. Martin actually called me last week, and he said, what can I do? And I said, what you should do is not talk about it. Why don't you come to a council meeting and address us? And he showed up, and I want to thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate everything y'all are doing, and I know we can do more. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I would just also add, if you did not know, we do have 33 community watches throughout the city of Myrtle Beach. So if you are not a member of our community watch, I would encourage you to do so. We have a fantastic crime prevention officer. Our neighborhood services is also involved, as well as our fire department, public works. Gives you an opportunity to have a voice, but also if you have questions or concerns in reference to what's going on, it puts a name with a face. It's extremely important for us to get involved. That's also another opportunity for you to have a voice and to be before our council as well as before our community. So it gives an opportunity to be involved with the different departments within the city. So just wanted to also point that out. So thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks so much.
Alex Gasper.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Alex Gaspar, Gaspar. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. I'm a senior at Coastal Carolina University. I come before the council today to ask you to consider a plastic bag ban. Many states across the country have bans, and many in cities in South Carolina do too. Charleston, Isle of Palms, Mount Pleasant, Surfside Beach, and North Myrtle Beach have a single-use plastic bag ban, but Myrtle Beach does not. As one of the premier tourist destinations on the East Coast, the reliance on our stunning natural beauty and resources of the state, a reduction in the amount of plastic we use is critical. Plastic makes up 74% of the items collected in South Carolina. Nearly half of all plastic debris is single-use, including bags, styrofoam to-go containers, and utensils. An article from Count On 2 News cited a university study that revealed 25 to 47% decrease in plastic bags found as litter following new bag policies. Implementing a ban on single-use plastic bags would reduce the amount of plastic litter found. A College of Charleston study found that thin plastic bag litter dropped 50% following the implementation of its ban in 2018-2019. It's important to prevent any loopholes from subverting the ban and undermining its effectiveness. Charleston saw the number of thick plastic bags increase by 200% after their ban. The issue with thicker plastic bags is that it's made with more plastic, it lasts longer, and poses a greater threat to wildlife. Horry County Solid Waste Authority has recorded more than $100,000 in repair costs due to plastic bags getting stuck. This cost is passed on to county taxpayers who are left with the bill. Locally owned businesses may not be impacted negatively by plastic bag bans. Restaurants in Myrtle's Inlet, like Get Carried Away, have already voluntarily switched to using paper bags. This policy would help keep Myrtle Beach and Horry County beautiful. It will help keep birds and turtles healthy, oysters edible, and our beaches pristine. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you for choosing CCU.
Paul Hickey?
Good morning.
Good
Paul
morning.
Hickey, 1320 Suncrest Drive in Myrtle Beach. I'm past president of the Veterans Organization of Crestwind. We're 140 strong. Today, I also represent the Veterans of Market Common, a separate veterans organization. And I'd just like to say to everyone, we fully support the location, the design, and certainly the spirit of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. And thank you to the City Council for honoring and remembering.
Thank you so much.
Your Honor, the last one is regarding an agenda item. So I don't know if you want to call them now or wait.
Who is it? And we'll
Steve Nance.
okay. Mr. Nance, when we get to that agenda item, we will have public comment, and you'll have an opportunity to speak at that time. Okay, we'll move on to today's consent agenda item, please.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. For your considerations, motion 2025-50, which is approving a memorandum of understanding between the City of Myrtle Beach and Rape Crisis Center serving Horry and Georgetown counties. And this will provide crisis intervention, advocacy, and support services to male and female adolescent and/or adult survivors of sexual assault and abuse, dating violence, and stalking. And they work closely with the police department.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion to approve today's consent agenda?
Second.
Motion from Mr. Louder, second from, I'm going to go with Mr. Chestnut. Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. The first item on our regular agenda is the first reading of ordinance 2025-43.
First reading of ordinance 2025-43 to rezone a parcel totaling 4.5 acres on the corner of Harrelson Boulevard and Highway 15, PIN number 442-0501-0016, from RMH-MH multifamily residential high density with manufactured homes to LM Light Manufacturing.
Yes, good morning, all.
Good morning, Cam.
As you can see here, this is the location map right on the corner of Harrelson and Highway 15. The site is currently not cleared. It is wooded area, and I do want to point out there is a carve-out in the middle of that parcel where there is a single-family home that's owned by Mr. Pick. This is the parcel that is in behind that. Current zoning map showing RMHMH, and it would move towards LM with that red transferring down from the light manufacturing park on Dividend Loop. Quick zoning comparison summary here. Happy to answer any questions about that. And then finally, the findings of fact that Planning Commission uses to base their decisions off of. Like I said, happy to answer any questions.
Cam, I think it would be helpful for the public if you would explain, first of all, why the Planning Commission recommends denial.
Yes, ma'am.
And how this negatively could impact not only this area, but other areas of the city if we were to consider this.
Yeah, so Planning Commission looked at this pretty comprehensively using the comprehensive plan. They found that it did meet the economic development goals of the city, but the other areas of the comprehensive plan were not met, such as the housing element, which seeks to preserve our neighborhoods and our community. Planning Commission was also nervous of the precedent being set, essentially creating a spot zone of Mr. Pick's property in the middle of this location. And finally, Planning Commission has concerns. LM over the years has shrunk, but is also expanded in uses and allowing things like barber shops, bars, gas stations, which had historically not been part of LM, have been added into LM over the past 10 years, which could cause issues the further expansion of LM goes.
All right, thank you. All right, is there a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 2025-43?
I'll make a motion to deny.
Second.
Motion made from Mr. Smith to deny, second from Mr. Louder. Any discussion from council?
For the reasons that the Planning Commission articulated.
Thank you. Any discussion from the public?
I'd like to add that I appreciate the planning commission going through such a comprehensive review. And I know they do this with everything that comes up to us. So it was really good to see their information that they provided on that.
Thank you. Any discussion from the public? Yes, sir.
I'm Steve Nance, and I was the one that wanted to rezone that piece of property. So we just think it would be a more successful development to do light manufacturing there than it would be to do a residential. You know, you got Harrelson Boulevard is a highway now. It's a major highway, you know, high traffic count. So we thought it would be better to be either light manufacturing or retail or commercial, highway commercial. But, you know, we're just wanting it to be light manufacturing. So that's why we're wanting to rezone it.
Thank you,
Because,
Mr.
and you know, the development next to it's been a real successful development. And that's, you know, we thought it might be best to do that instead of the residential.
Thank you, and we appreciate your feedback, and maybe there are some other things that you could look at for consideration. Thank you. Any other discussion from the public? Okay. All those in favor of denial? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. First reading of ordinance 2025-44.
First reading of ordinance 2025-44 to amend Article 10, Division 6 of Chapter 14 of the City of Myrtle Beach Code of Ordinances relating to juvenile curfew.
It's me. So as you're aware, this is the curfew ordinance. It's very similar to the executive order that's previously been in effect last weekend. This will establish a central business district from 6th South to 21st North, and from east to west from the ocean, and then west to Kings Highway, the east side of Kings Highway, and then there's a carve-out that goes over to the A&I district from 7th North over to Broadway, and then up Broadway to 9th North, and so it encompasses that as well. And really this will complement to an extent the existing juvenile ordinance that's really been on the books since I believe 2017, that anybody under 18 is not permitted in a public place between midnight and 6 a.m. It will add this area that's shown up here from 10, it is currently presented to you from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. For anybody that's under the age of 18, with a couple exceptions of that I'll talk about here in just a minute. Staff came up with 10. There is an uptick in juvenile arrest at the 9 o'clock hour and at the 10 o'clock hour, and so to try to strike a balance between the business community, public safety, 10 was what was presented here, but there is data for juvenile arrest, both showing an uptick at 9 and at 10. There's also a couple other changes in here that I think are worth mentioning. And things to clean some of the areas up. Section B of it makes it unlawful for a parent or guardian of a minor to knowingly permit or encourage or to allow by exercising insufficient control. So parents could be held responsible for their kids violating the curfew ordinance or their juveniles violating the curfew ordinance. And the other addition there in C, under section 14237 is it's unlawful for an operator of any establishment located within the city of Myrtle Beach or for any person who is an employee thereof to knowingly permit, allow, or encourage a minor to remain upon the premises of the establishment during the applicable curfew hours. And it's their responsibility, if they're aware of it, that they notify the police department so that we can try to address some of these issues. Just a couple of the exceptions, because I've heard that as well, that exist. If a minor is with their parents, they're still permitted to be out after curfew hours. If the minor is involved or the juvenile is involved in an emergency or an errand that's necessitated by emergency, and that's spelled out in the ordinance. If the juvenile is working in that area, that's an exception. Motor vehicle for interstate travel, if they're on the sidewalk in front of their house. Religious events, a recreational civic activity sponsored by the city, a civic organization, exercising the First Amendment right, or they're married or emancipated. And so there are some exceptions for some of the juveniles. And then it spells out the enforcement piece. Any adult who violates this, it's in the ordinance, may be sentenced to pay a fine of not exceeding $500 or a term of imprisonment not to exceed 30 days. And then juveniles are going to be handled according to the South Carolina Juvenile Justice Code. One of the things I think that's important to mention is this is a societal problem. This right here is not going to be the end-all, be-all to fixing all of the issues that we have. I know there were some meetings last week, some public meetings with some of the stakeholders, and the police chief talked about some of the things that the police department has done long before some of the issues that we've been experiencing here. And we're going to continue to do and expand on some of those things. But this is not the end-all, be-all for us. I'll be happy to answer any other questions anybody may have.
All right, let's get a motion on the table, and then we can discuss. Is there a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 2025-44?
So moved.
Motion from Mr. McClure, second from Dr. Connor. Any discussion from council?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to amend the current motion to start the curfew at 9 p.m. versus 10 p.m.
Mr. Louder has made a motion to amend,
I second that.
and Dr. Connor seconds. And that will amend this to be 9 p.m. until 6 a.m.
I would also like us to think about adding in for public parks and also the city properties, if possible.
Madam Mayor, we can get a vote on the First Amendment, and then perhaps we can have a Second Amendment. That's right.
Okay. So our First Amendment is to begin the curfew at 9 p.m. Is there any discussion from council to do so? Any discussion from the public? Well, of course, yes. You need to come forward, please.
Come on down, Joe.
While he's on his way up, I just want to reiterate that this is for the central business district. There is a curfew for the entire city that already is in effect at midnight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Perfect example. You got it here, you don't have it there. You've had this ordinance.
Sir, you need to state your name and address for the record.
For any of you that don't know me, I'm Joe McVeigh. You've had this ordinance since 17. You haven't really enforced it. I read in the paper, now I may be wrong, you stopped 2 people. You put it in on the second, you got 40 cops sitting there, they're just dumbfounded. Here's what you all do on most everything you do. Ready, fire, aim. Now you've got people going back to Kentucky, West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania. Well, we have to be in at 10 o'clock. No, I think it's 9 o'clock. And you have to be under 18. No, you have to be under 15 or 16. And every time you change it, no matter what you say, that's not the message that goes back home to these people. I was down there Monday night twice, one at 9:30, one at 10:30. Wasn't any problems. There weren't anybody out, which I was very surprised. There were very few people out. There were no police either, but I'm not going to get into that. But and no cars sitting in the middle with their blinker lights on. So, but it was very calm and everything was going fine. So you moved it back because you had 2 shooters that were 17. I'm just trying to think the way you all think. And so you move it back to 16. And now I'm not sure where it is, and I'm not sure all the areas. I know, I agree with the areas where you're talking about. But, you know, a 15-year-old kid that's come a long way down here to laugh and party and play pinball machines, and he has to leave now at 9 o'clock. He's got to be out of this area at 9 o'clock. Ready, fire, aim. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Walker.
Well, again, while Mr. Walker's walking up, I would say that I don't believe that we've changed the ages, and if someone is playing video games and they're chaperoned by an adult, they are welcome to stay in that area.
My name is Chris Walker, 5700 Canterbury Lane.
Excuse me, Mr. Walker. Mr. McVeigh, we have a meeting taking place, please. Thank you.
Just representing some of the businesses down there that met last week with different groups. We, you know, this is kind of an extraordinary circumstance. This isn't, you know, the normal course of business for any of us. I've been down there since 1988. You know, certainly a lot of things have changed, but, you know, just having brazen shootouts on our street, that's not what I signed up for back in 80. You know, I came down here for a summer job from college, and you know, this is my American dream. This is, you know, I love this town. But you know, extraordinary circumstances do take extraordinary measures to fix them, and I think you know, this is. The 9 o'clock curfew, I think, is something we all agree with down there, and we don't do any of this lightly. We're businesses. We have to make money. We have to, you know, before that, we have to make sure our customers and our employees are safe. You know, I actually have a bullet hole in the frame of my front window where I had 4 girls under the age of 25 working. This was back in 22 at the Labor Day shooting. So. You know, something a lot of us have already done. You know, I've got an ice cream store, 2 coffee shops, a haunted house, and some parking lots. I've got, on Friday, Saturday nights, I've got 4 security guards at $27 an hour working these stores. And, you know, I don't know many ice cream shops that have police outside their door. So, you know, we all take this very serious, and as, you know, as just a, you know, to elevate that thought, but, you know, between myself, Bill Prescott, Ripley, Skywheel, Vic, at the Barrow, we spend collectively over $250,000 a year on security. So, you know, this is money we used to spend on fireworks and Oktoberfest and St. Patty's Day. So, you know, we've secretly, quietly been going about our business trying to fix things ourselves, and we just, you know, we can't do it. We've got people in front of our stores moving the crowd along, trying to keep our customers and our employees safe. But when you've got 16, 17-year-olds that, you know, just are playing video games with people's lives, and that's what it is. They're playing video games out there, and I've got over 80 cameras on these sidewalks down there, and I could show you things that you have not seen in real life. These are things that you see on video games, and they have no respect for human life, and that's the sad state of where we are right now, and that's a serious thing. And, you know, I think this is a good first step, but we need a lot more. This isn't just a boulevard problem. You know, I've always said when our issues hit the hotels, that's when things get done, and you know, I just read an article this morning that called us Murder Beach on a national level. You know, that's, you know, we get Greenville and Mount Pleasant, you know, saying things like that about us. But when they're talking about that on a national level, that hurts everyone in this room. And you know, I think this is a good first step, but we need a lot. We need a lot more. And I would just urge everybody here to listen to kind of what we're saying. You know, we don't have any reason to lie to you. We're here because we're concerned about our families, our employees, and our customers, and please reach out. Thank you, Brenda, and thank you, Assistant City Manager, for reaching out last week, and we've got issues. Thank you.
Sir. And we're here with you to help solve them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I make one point for you? The video that you talked about, let's make sure that our police chief and those stakeholders have that. I understand what you're saying. You know, you have information that we don't see, and that's important. And I think everybody on this council agrees that it's going to take a village, and I guarantee you that we're here to do everything that we can do.
Ms. Mayor, I agree with Greg that I don't know that we've changed the age at all. The age is still the same. What we're doing here is changing the time. Most of you know that I've worked that boulevard a long time. And I will tell you this, I have been on the boulevard for the last month. Some have seen me down there on Saturday nights. And as an average, I've been spending about 2.5 hours or longer from somewhere around 8:30 to 11:30 at night. I was there again this past Saturday night. And the boulevard today is not what it was years ago. I agree with this curfew for the biggest reason I agree with it, because, number one, we have a group of business owners down there that are concerned, and they have asked for this. I have received emails and phone calls from business owners there. But I'll agree with what Chris just said. This is not the fix-all. This council has said this is not the fix-all. There are a number of other things to be done. And there are a number of things to be done that I have been sharing with this council for 16 years. And I still believe today that those things need to be done. And I would hope that we would take a look at this in a more aggressive manner, that how we need to be working the boulevard, how our police department should be dealing with the boulevard. And I'm not saying anything negative toward the chief or the personnel. I support this police department 120%. But I believe our police department and our personnel down there need to step up on enforcement of our ordinances that we have. And that might rub some people a little bit raw in this room today, but that's okay. I've been known to do that before. But I firmly believe in it, and I know it's worked in the past, and I know it will work today. Thank you.
Do we have any other public comment? Okay, we'll take a vote on the. Mr. You need to come to the microphone, please.
Ruben Hyman, 303 63rd Avenue North. There's no doubt that it is a problem, and we've taken the initiative trying to solve it. But my first question is, how do we enforce this with the limited amount of personnel that we have on the boulevard trying to enforce it? That's my main concern. And I'm not trying to say we shouldn't try to do something, but I don't know if that's still the correct direction to go as far as solving the problem. One alternative that I have thought about is maybe there's certain types of businesses down there that are drawing these juveniles down there. We had a situation years ago, if you remember, where we had tattoo parlors going up like left and right. We thought that was the wrong atmosphere to have down there on the boulevard, and we moved them all over to Seaboard Avenue. And it seemed to correct a lot of situations. Maybe that same situation could be applied to certain businesses that are down there now. Thank you.
Can I add one thing, Mayor, to his point? One of the things that we're in the process of is hiring some of the juvenile monitors, which will be civilians, which will allow the officers to stay on the street, because that's some of the challenges with a lot of these young folks is they're not from around here, and so it may take an hour, 2 hours, or longer for a parent or guardian to come get them, and we do not want to tie the officers on the boulevard up, sitting with a juvenile, waiting for somebody to come get them, and so that's one thing we're in the process that they can drop them off and get back out on the street.
Thank you.
And that's because taking a juvenile into custody is different than taking an adult into custody.
That's correct. You can't just take them to a jail cell and put them there and hold them until the parent gets there. There's some very specific regulations in dealing with juveniles.
And I do want to clarify, our boulevard is fully staffed up every single weekend. There's no shortage of police officers down there, and Chief Prock is in the back, and she'll be happy to talk with anyone about that.
Just,
All right,
just, Madam Mayor, if you don't mind, just one comment. It was just mentioned that certain businesses, that's an awful slippery slope to, you know, that general statement, certain businesses. Men, women, investors have put their money in those businesses down there. So I think we need to be very, very careful when we talk about certain businesses. What does that mean? Certainly, you know, we heard ice cream shops. We've got the Ferris wheel down there. These are all legitimate businesses paying their taxes, paying for private security. So let's avoid basket statements about certain types of businesses. That can be a very slippery slope.
And we also have state laws we have to follow.
Correct.
You know, I've grown up here my whole life, and I've grown up on that boulevard. And it has changed so much in the past 15 years. And that we're dealing with a lot of things right now, but really we're dealing with a culture change. And when that happens, we have to change right along with it to correct whatever issues that may come up. And so, and that's one step that we're doing here with this curfew. Plus, we'll continue aggressively doing whatever we need to make change to make everything safe, not only on the boulevard, but for our whole city. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have an amendment on the table. I'm going to call for the vote on the amendment, which changes the curfew time to begin at 9 p.m. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? That amendment is approved. And Ms. Hatley, you wanted to make another amendment.
Yes, I would like to amend and also add that we include our public parks and our city properties also.
Second.
Second from Mr. Smith. Any discussion from council on the second amendment? Any discussion from the public?
And just to be clear, that's city parks across the city, not just in this zone, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. We will go back and vote on the first reading of ordinance 2025-44 with the two amended changes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Chris, thank you for being here today to represent the businesses. I hope that you've all heard that those meetings will continue. We are waiting, Jason Green told us this morning, the measurements were taken for some lighting. We're waiting for some lighting quotes back from Santee Cooper, but the meetings will continue, and we're in this with you. Thank you. The next item, Resolution 2025-16, I will recuse myself and turn the meeting over to Mr. Louder because my husband is the broker for Pickleport.
Resolution 2025-16, authorizing the city manager to modify Section 13 of the letter of intent with Pickleport Myrtle Beach LLC and extend the inspection period to an additional 60 days.
Good morning, council. Yes, this, I think it's a fairly simple, straightforward request. In January, we executed a letter of intent with your authorization with Pickleport for them to engage in due diligence to explore the viability of placing a pickleball facility, indoor-outdoor pickleball courts at Whispering Pines to be privately operated. They have, with great persistence, gone through all of their due diligence, all of their studies, all of their engineering, fundraising, everything they need to do on their side of the equation they have done, and they have done quickly and again with persistence. The only remaining piece of the puzzle is approval from the National Parks Service, because we were given that property by the federal government. They still have an oversight to ensure that certain standards are met, that it's public recreation, that it's accessible. And it's a bit of a process that has gone on much longer than any of us anticipated. But again, that's the only piece of this that is still left undone, is National Park Service approval. So for that reason, Pickleport has requested a 60-day extension. Their due diligence currently expires on July the 14th, so this would give them an additional 2 months. We did have a phone call yesterday with National Park Service, and we feel like we're getting very close to getting a final decision from them, and we feel like 60 days is appropriate. Happy to answer any questions.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve an extension in 60 days.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Hatley, second by Mr. Chestnut. Any discussion from the council? Any discussion from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries.
Thank you, Mr. Louder.
Yes, ma'am.
Resolution 2025-17.
Resolution 2025-17, declaring July 10th through the 13th, 2025, and July 17th through the 20th, 2025, extraordinary events, and authorizing the city manager to take all steps necessary for the preservation of public health.
As you all know, city manager issued an executive order for July 2nd to the 7th, which would have expired yesterday, for expanded curfew, if you will, in the Central Business District. Chapter 19 of the ordinances defines extraordinary events, specifically defines 3 periods, Memorial Day, July 4th, and Labor Day, and the days surrounding those, but it also allows other days to be declared extraordinary events. As you know, you just passed first reading of the juvenile curfew, amending the ordinance. It will not go into effect unless it's passed on second reading in 2 weeks. And in the meantime, there is no mechanism to continue the ordinance or the executive order that we've had. And so if you pass this, it will declare the next 2 weekends as extraordinary events. And the city manager can then issue an executive order expanding the juvenile curfew ordinance for those 2 weekends until we get to final reading.
Okay, and we do not need to do any amendments. He will create his emergency ordinance or
That's correct.
to reflect what we did today.
That's correct.
Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2025-17?
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Louder, second from Ms. Hatley. Any discussion from council?
I would, one thing about communicating this, I want to commend Chief and her staff on their communication efforts over the July 4th with the videos talking about curfew, et cetera. And so I think we need to step that up. And I think on a broader sense, our public access channel is hugely underutilized, that we could also take that opportunity to post some of these guidelines so people who are coming into our area will understand what our curfew is and et cetera. So, but good job on communicating from at least the police department, but I think we need to do a broader expanse of that.
And while the chief's coming this way, I did, while I was on the boulevard Saturday night, I don't know exactly where that was coming from, but along the boulevard, you could hear, I don't know if it was speakers out there that were on the boardwalk, but you could hear the same broadcast where the chief was actually talking about the curfew and things like that, so.
It came from heaven.
Well, I don't know about that, but there was an opportunity for people who may not have heard it on this or that it was actually being broadcast live along the boardwalk and the boulevard as well.
So our city communications team has already taken a video with our team and is going to be working not only in our area, our region, and also areas of North Carolina and other areas to push out a lot of that video to inform them about our ordinance, our changes. In addition to that, we also are working with our speakers on the boardwalk to be able to leave that starting at 7 o'clock. In addition to that, we also will be using our social media and our digital broadcasting to make sure those are being pushed out readily and quickly.
Great. So, thank you.
Right. Thank you, Chief. Any other discussion from council? Any discussion from the public?
Joe McVeigh, I'm not clear, once these people, these 10-year-olds and 12 and whatever age, are you going to arrest them? Are you going to have special people to arrest them? Are you going to send them to jail? What are you going to do with these young kids that have broken this curfew, this moving
Mr. Bruger?
curfew?
So they're going to be detained.
And how old are these youth?
Anybody that's under 18 is in violation of the curfew.
I'm sorry, I thought you moved it down.
We've never moved it down. It has been 17 and under since 2017.
Right, that's what I said earlier.
In the city, there has been zero discussions about age.
I must have missed that. All right, so what happens then?
The police department will take them into custody, take them to the station, and then
Handcuff them and take them to the station?
it depends on the circumstances. Oftentimes there are other offenses.
Well,
and
they won't
so
send pictures home, so I guess. So you take them where, I'm sorry?
most times you're going to go to the police station and wait for a parent or guardian to
To
come
the
get them.
jail at the police station, is that right?
I did not say the jail. They are
I
not
know you
going to the
didn't.
jail.
And they're going to sit in the lobby, or?
Sitting in the police station, not in the jail.
All right, the kid's from West Virginia. He came with his cousin from Kentucky. The parents are at a campground. Who's going to come vouch for him, and how long are they going to stay there? And if they don't know and they don't get there, are you going to take him over to Conway and put him in, he or she, in jail?
They're not going to jail, no.
No matter what, okay.
And sir,
For curfew, no.
I think one thing that is very clear with our ordinance is that parents should be responsible for their underage children. And so what Mr. Bruger is saying is they will contact parents who should know where their children are, and those parents will be responsible to come and get their children.
Okay, so if it's, they got one driver that's 18 and all his cousins are younger, he can't vouch for him. He has to go get the parent.
I think our police are well equipped to handle every circumstance, sir.
But they are, if they knew what to do. All right.
They are.
They do know what to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion from the public? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Motion 2025-51.
Motion 2025-51 to declare certain vehicles abandoned or derelict pursuant to the authority of Article 41 of Title 56, South County Code of Laws, 2001.
Is there anyone here who represents any of these vehicles? Okay, may I please have a motion to declare?
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Louder, second from Ms. Hatley. Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Do we have any non-agenda items from the public?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, do we have any communications from council or staff?
Only thing I have is that there will be an executive order coming out for the curfew for the next 2 weekends.
Thank you. And happy birthday, Dr. Connor.
Thank you.
We will not sing,
Please.
but we wish you a
Thank you.
beautiful day.
Thank you.
Okay, and with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Louder, second from Dr. Connor. Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.